Usually, when you buy a house, that's the end of the story. But when you're buying resort property, it works a little bit differently here. My name's Ian MacDonald,
Sarah McKenna.
and we are owners of Villa 9 on Soneva Fushi. When the speedboat picks you up and you see the island approaching, and you just see the contrasting colours of the sky and the island and the water. And we fell in love with the place the moment we got off the boat, basically.
It became clear very quickly that it would be something a bit special. And it really, really was.
We're Margot and George Gregg, and we're the proud owners of Villa 1 in Soneva Fushi. Well, we came here on the recommendation of a friend, our first time in the Maldives of March, about 5 years ago. And the minute we came here and spent a few days, we knew this really was a special place and got involved looking at a private residence and saw this spot and thought, this really is spectacular and an extraordinary opportunity to have a piece of this spectacular place.
My name's Mark Davis. My wife and I, Miranda, own Villa 28 on Soneva, and we love it here. We found that there was nowhere else that we'd been in the world that compared, not just with the island itself and the Maldives, which we do think are exceptional, but Soneva and the concept. The fact that you can come and be part of what is, in my view, the most fabulous resort that exists. And just have something a little bit different for it, something that you can really properly delight in. You get that, and you get the same return. For me, it made perfect sense the minute I saw the numbers, and we were signing pretty well that day.
Really, it had to be a good investment. It had to make sense, or there was no way that we could do it.
So we were looking for the reasons why it might be a bad idea. We eventually decided that it made sense. We trusted it, and it all seemed to be above board.
It has the added bonus of a huge amount of enjoyment. So we're happy with it.
If you look at government bonds or any kind of corporate bond, and you say, okay, that's going to give me this fixed return, but really nothing else in exchange. And instead you can have something like this, which gives you a comparable return, but also the sheer delight of owning it. I think that this is a total no-brainer. The process of buying has been very easy, really, because you're dealing with a very good team for a start.
You know, no one cares about it as much as the founder. Soneva are so very heavily personally involved. Still feels like very much like a family business, really, and that's very appealing.
I thought it was wonderful when we first arrived, but I think it keeps building on its strengths. I think Sonu and even have done a marvelous job of keeping the place moving forward without changing the character, but just getting better and better.
We made the commitment in March of 2012, and they organized the project and the architecture and design and so on, and it took the 4 or 5 months to construct, and it was ready to go when we came back in December. So the whole thing beginning to end was 9 months, because they're very efficient at construction here, and was ready for us when we showed up for Christmas.
In terms of building our villa, it was really very quick. They were able to get on with it. Really, from the moment we'd agreed the plans, they started pretty well straight away, and they were able to build, in our terms, 24/7, and it came together very, very quickly. The moment we walked in, we were still, well, open-eyed, taken aback, and just open-mouthed about the whole thing, because it was everything that we'd hoped for and more. And we were greeted by the guys on the jetty, and they whisked us here on a buggy. and we just didn't know which bit to visit first. We were running from room to room like a mad family, really, just loving every single room, every little detail, every very Soneva touch that it had to it. And then we got upstairs and saw the view out onto the lagoon with the sun up and the water so blue, and we were standing on our own balcony and looking out over the foliage in front of us. I think we were bowled over.
Nothing is too much here. Everyone just aims to please. Really is like having our private island here with all the amenities that Soneva has to offer.
I think if you're looking at the Maldives for property, then you can't really do better than Soneva for the simple reason that they manage it so well here. So you don't have any of the hassle that's involved in property ownership, and you have all the returns. When you come here, it is absolutely your own place. But when you're not here, you don't have any of the concerns that people, when they're back home and they say, you own a property in the Maldives, well, how do you manage that? But actually it's being managed for you, and it's being managed to a fabulous degree.
Everything I asked them to do before we arrived was done.
And more.
And more.
We feel more sure that we're happy with what we've done.
We're in close contact with the guys here if we need to be, and if we don't want to be bothered, then we don't hear until we contact them and say we're coming, and at that point we're returning home.